What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Texas Chainsaw Massacre video. You may remember a couple weeks back that Gun Interactive was giving away a chainsaw at Mad Monster in North Carolina. During this show, they had a panel that featured creative director Ronnie Hobbs, community lead Matt Shacha, and Leatherface himself, Kane Hodder. Just yesterday, the entire panel was released publicly for us fans to finally check out, and it definitely features a few clips that I want to spotlight for you here right now. The panel as a whole is 52 minutes, so if you're interested in checking out the entire thing, I'll have to link in the description below. But with all that said, let's dive right in. One thing I knew to look for right away, no offense to Kane, was clips that featured him potentially saying too much. And at this point, he's not exactly sure what he can and can't say, and that usually leads to some juicy things being said. I mean, for example, we go back to the cameo that was featured in a video over a year ago now, where he confirmed he's working on a new franchise horror video game. And of course, that game ended up being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I will say that he managed to stay relatively hush-hush during this panel, but a few things stood out that I want to show, starting first with a sort of release date window.
Session of motion capture for the Leatherface game was over a year ago, in December, over a year ago, and we've still got probably another year left. I don't know if there's a release date, but...
Not yet. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So Kane obviously doesn't exactly know when the game will come out, but it's safe to say that Gunn is trying to keep him relatively informed on a release window. So I wouldn't be surprised if being about a year away from the release is accurate. I mean, that could mean end of this year or potentially early next year. But I'm just saying this to reiterate the fact that the game will most likely not be dropping this summer or in the next few months or anything like that. I think we should just, prepare to be patient for the release date. For our next clip, I really just want to show you this one to hear your theories on it. I mean, Kane mentions to Ronnie and Matt that he has a unique idea to bring forward next time they do mocap. Take a listen.
Something I haven't even talked to you about yet, but
I wouldn't mention it here then.
Oh, no.
You're going to mention
I
it
get
here?
nervous every time he says something we haven't talked about yet.
I'm not going to
Christ,
specify, but
was a
I
great
have an
time.
idea of something to do in the motion capture whenever, at some point in the future, that has never been done in motion capture or in film.
Okay.
It's very vague, I know, but
You wanna send me a
when
text?
you hear about it, I think you'll be
Okay.
amazed that it's an idea that I haven't even talked to them about. And it may not work for whatever reason, but it's an idea I had to do something no one's ever done. I'm not talking about a way of killing someone or something like that. That's easy stuff. This is I guess I'd call a technique of acting that you've never seen on film. I think it'd be cool to do.
So yeah, try to wrap your heads around that one. I mean, an acting technique that has never been done before and is possible to apply specifically to a mocap session for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought that was really interesting, and it continues to have me trying to create theories on what exactly he meant there. So I'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. Now, in this panel, Kane mentions how he wanted to do everything in his power to recreate the moves and techniques of his late friend, Gunnar Hansen, who of course played Leatherface in the original film. First of all, let me say it was great to hear just how devoted he is to the role. When it comes to how Leatherface will move and act in the game, I don't think we have anything to worry about. It sounds like he has done everything possible to match Gunnar's iconic performance. But during this, he does mention one specific piece of movement from the original film that I want to share with you. Take a look.
Picture the idea of trying to recreate Gunnar Hansen's chainsaw dance.
Yeah.
The classic
Let's go.
I just felt so honored, and I it's not easy to do, I'll tell you that. And I just feel like I'm doing the ultimate respect to Gunnar doing the chainsaw dance as much as I can like he did, so.
Yeah, we were saving that for a Fangoria cover, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, shit.
So this is another one of those moments where I'm not sure Gunn was ready to reveal this piece of information, especially based on the way Ronnie looks over and says, "It's cool," to Matt. Now, for us fans that know Gunn, it was pretty obvious that the iconic Leatherface dance from the original film was going to be in the game in some way, shape, or form. However, this is our first confirmation that it's not only in the game, but it's legitimately acted out by Kane Hodder himself, and that is pretty freaking cool, and I can't wait to see how that turned out. Sooner rather than later, please. I just want to see that. Just one 5-second clip of the Leatherface dance will make me happy. So now I want to jump forward to the Q&A portion of the panel, which actually has a few great clips. First, I want to start with Ronnie explaining how they are taking what they learned from Friday the 13th and applying it to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
As a creative director, it's part of my job is to figure out what we're going to work on next and get that approved. And so I've been working on the game for about 3 years now. So a long, long time. The things that we learned about Friday, we are absolutely applying to Texas. Most likely, how to balance a game with an overpowered killer, right? So now that we have 3 killers, that's what we're trying to learn, is take our lessons from Friday and figure out how to work 3 killers versus 4 victims and make sure that they live long enough to have fun. And that's really one of the things that I think some people are a little concerned about, is how are you going to have fun if there's 3 killers chasing you? You have to remember, Texas, they're human beings. They're not supernatural. Leatherface can't morph and disappear and reappear in certain places, and neither can the cook. Definitely not the cook, right? So to see him chasing you around is kind of funny, to be honest. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, they all have their own unique abilities, but at the end of the day, it's how to balance that game with multiple killers, and we learned a big lesson on Friday. That's probably the most challenging aspect, because it's never really been done before in multiplayer asymmetrical gameplay, is that 3 versus 4 aspect. So that's really our big focus.
I wanted to share that clip, hopefully to calm some nerves for those that may be a bit worried about this game coming from Friday the 13th. I mean, to hear Ronnie admit to mistakes on F13, how they wanted to address those right away when dealing with balance and TCM, is great to hear. But also in this clip, he mentioned each killer having their own abilities, and they actually expand on this a bit more after another question, so I wanted to share that clip as well.
So the cook can only do certain things, right? And he can't run really fast, right? Because he couldn't in the movie, right? So we didn't want to just say, okay, he's really fast. So the hitchhiker is crazy and wily and unpredictable. So maybe he's not the most powerful character, but maybe he can do some other things. And Leatherface, obviously his chainsaw is going to be the most powerful, but maybe he can't do other things. So it's about designing the killers so that their abilities work together. And if they do work together, they have a better chance of finding the victims. But on the flip side, there's a lot of tools that the victims in their arsenal to help them escape and to hide and do things so that they can break the line of sight. So where Friday the 13th, I guess, was a game of tag, if you think about it, where Jason's always chasing someone and they're just running and jumping through windows, this would be more of a stealth game. Really, we're focusing on stealth gameplay for the victims. And it's, if you were in that environment and you woke up and you're trying to break free and you just woke up in that house somewhere, you would probably hide, right? You would do certain things and you wouldn't just run right at Leatherface. If you do that, you'll die, obviously. But there are a lot of things that you can do to stretch out that time period for you to live. So we have lots of cool stuff for them to do. So
yeah, so that clip explains a bit more in detail what to expect in terms of the importance of working together as a team, not only as a victim, but as one of the family members as well. Their abilities will be unique to each other, and independently, they will probably struggle to succeed. So again, reiterating just how important it is to work together in this game. Now in this next clip, they were asked whether or not they would be securing the likenesses and voices of Jim Ceto and Ed Neal, who played the cook and the hitchhiker in the original film. Take a look.
I'll say that we're all about authenticity. So I wouldn't want them in the game if we couldn't. I'll leave it at that, but yeah, that's our plan and our goal, and it's always been we chose this franchise for a reason. It's because we love it. So to not have him in there and his face and his likeness for both characters, I would almost rather not do the game if that was my choice. So, yeah.
Yeah, something at Gun, when we talk about authenticity, and I'll keep this brief, but something at Gun that I think is very important to mention that a lot of people don't quite realize is that it's not just about things like we talked about the Saw, or we talked about, other areas of the game where we can take a picture, scan it into a game, whatever the case is. Authenticity also means being able to create likenesses, mannerisms,
Everything.
Yeah, and when you're able to see the mocap take place, you can see Ronnie's direction during the mocap process of making sure that the littlest twitch of a shoulder is included into the performance, and the little things are there, so that really, aside from just the likenesses and how they look, their mannerisms, their characteristics,
their speech, the way they move, everything about it. So,
all of it.
Yeah.
Again, for those that are fans of Gunn, it probably comes as no surprise that they're doing everything they can to be authentic to the original film. Of course, with Ed Neal recently returning to the franchise and the fan film The Sawyer Massacre, I'd be willing to bet that he is directly involved with the game in some way, shape, or form, even if that's just doing the voice acting. And now Jim Ceto passed away in 2003, but his likeness is already confirmed as it's on the key art for the game. And again, I'd be willing to bet that Bill Moseley is doing the voice acting and mocap for this character as he recreated the role in the 2013 film Texas Chainsaw 3D. In my head, it just seems like a no-brainer, Now, this next clip, for those that have mentioned over and over that they're not buying a game that's just going to have another lawsuit, take a look. Hopefully this one helps you out.
That was very difficult on our entire company and everyone involved and all the fans as well. So the good news about Texas is it's just Kim, right? There's no Victor Miller who's going to reapply for the writing credits, right? Because he is the writer. So he owns the franchise and it's all in his pocket. So we made sure that was a focus point moving forward with that franchise. I'll say that for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it's fundamentally impossible for the same type of lawsuit to reoccur when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as the original writer Kim Henkel already secures the rights to himself. So, I mean, if that is what your big concern is going into TCM, I would let that one go. I think we're safe here. I mean, it'll be all right. It's not to say lawsuits aren't impossible. It's still a big-ass IP, but I'm just saying that lawsuit, that type of issue, it's not going to happen, okay? They're in a good spot, and Kim Henkel is directly involved in the game. It'll be all right. And now, one last clip, this one talking about whether or not there will be a beta for the game. Take a look.
Yeah, we don't really know yet on that one. It's a bridge that we're still kind of cross. I wouldn't say yes. So yeah, at this point, we're not really announcing anything. Betas take up a lot of time and attention away from the dev team. They have to stop what they're doing, make a beta, make a separate build of the game, and then so it's valuable feedback when you do a beta for the crowd. We get their feedback, and it gets you guys a chance to play it. But yeah, we don't really know yet. We haven't announced it, but maybe stay tuned.
Obviously betas are great for hearing feedback from your audience before the game even comes out, but it does delay the process like Ronnie mentions here. There are pros and cons to having a beta, but I will say that Sumo Nottingham is obviously a bit bigger of a team than Ophonic was during F13, not to mention how much Gunn has grown since then too. I would think that TCM, there's a lot more flexibility when it comes to internal playtesting, as they just have a lot more people that can do it. I guess what I'm really trying to say is, a game like F13 was in much more need of a beta than TCM should be. So, I mean, I could go with or without one. But that's all the clips that stood out to me. Overall, it was a great panel, and I'm glad that we finally got to check it out and break down what was said there. Well, please let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. But that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.